You looked in the mirror once, not a real mirror, the kind shadow work asks you to look into, and then you stopped. Most people do. Maybe you journaled for a few days. Maybe you did the prompts you found online. Maybe you got one uncomfortable answer and decided you were not ready for this. Or maybe you tried sincerely, sat with the discomfort, and still felt like nothing was actually changing, so you stopped, quietly, without making a decision about it. You just did not come back. That is not failure. That is what happens when you attempt real psychological work with the wrong map. This video gives you the right one. We are going to cover 3 things. What shadow work actually is, not the version most content gets wrong. Exactly why people quit. The 3 specific and your nervous system, which has spent years protecting you from this material, is doing its job. The discomfort is not the wound, it is the door handle. The second reason people quit is more dangerous, because it looks like progress. Most people who do shadow work for months are actually stuck in this trap the entire time. Quit reason number 2. They turn it into self-attack. This one is subtle, this one is common, and it is the reason. Shadow work has a reputation for making people feel worse. The practice is supposed to build self-awareness, but self-awareness without self-compassion is just a more sophisticated way to hate yourself. Here is what this looks like in practice. You do the mirror exercise, identify the quality in someone else that triggers you. Let's say it is arrogance, and instead of getting curious about where that lives in you, you immediately confirm, yes, I am arrogant. See? There it is. I knew I was terrible, and you stop there. You have used the tool to find a verdict, not to find understanding. Jung never proposed shadow work as a criminal trial. He proposed it as an archaeology project. You are not digging to confirm guilt. You are digging to find something valuable that got buried. Reason 3 is the one nobody talks about, because admitting it requires acknowledging something about your relationship with the person you are becoming. Quit reason number 3. They fear what integration will cost them. This is the deepest reason, and the least discussed. Some people stop shadow work not because it is too painful, but because they sense, correctly, that if they fully integrate what they find, something in their current life will have to change. The person who discovers suppressed anger might have to stop tolerating something they have been tolerating for years. The person who discovers suppressed ambition might have to stop explaining why they are not pursuing it. The person who discovers suppressed boundaries might have to have conversations they have been avoiding. Integration is not just psychological, it is practical. It changes what you will accept. It changes what you will ask for. It changes who you are willing to be in front of other people. And sometimes, that is the most frightening thing of all. You now know what it is and why people leave. The next section is the part the title promised. What does not quitting actually look like? What is getting real in practice? All 3 reasons share a common structure. They are not failures of courage. They are failures of methodology. The person who mistakes discomfort for danger needed a map that told them what the discomfort means. The person who uses it as self-attack needed a framework that builds compassion alongside awareness. The person who fears the cost needed a practice that moves at the right pace, not so fast that the world collapses, not so slow that nothing changes. All 3 were doing the wrong version of the right practice. Here is the right version. Real shadow work has 4 practices, not prompts. Practices. Prompts are single questions you answer once. Practices are recurring disciplines that deepen over time. The difference matters because the shadow does not reveal itself in one sitting. It reveals itself in patterns. And patterns only become visible over repeated observation. The 4 practices are noticing, naming, holding, and returning. Each one addresses a different layer of the work. Let me take you through each of them. Practice 3 is the one that determines whether this sticks or dissolves. Most shadow work practices include 1 and 2. Almost none include 3. This is what separates real integration from a journaling habit. Practice 1. Noticing. This is the front door. Before you can examine the shadow, You need a reliable way to know when it has shown up. The signal is always the same, though it wears different clothes. A reaction that is larger than the situation warrants. A sudden impulse to withdraw, attack, or perform. A feeling of being seen in a way that makes you want to disappear. A surge of emotion that arrives faster than a conscious thought. These are shadow moments. Your practice, starting today. Once a day, at any point, ask one question. What happened today that I reacted to more than I expected? Do not analyze it yet. Just notice it. Write the scene down in 3 sentences. That is the whole practice. What happened? What I felt? How strong? Practice 2. Naming. Once you have a shadow moment recorded, you bring one specific tool to it. Not judgment. Not explanation. A question. What quality am I reacting to in this situation that I have not given myself permission to express? This is the archaeology question. The reaction is the surface. Below it is always a suppressed need or a buried quality. Someone cancels plans and you feel disproportionate hurt. Below the hurt, a suppressed need to feel prioritized. Someone dismisses your idea and you feel a flash of rage. Below the rage, a suppressed desire to be taken seriously. Name what is below the surface. Not the emotion. What the emotion is protecting. Write that down. 1 line. Practice 3. Holding. This is the practice almost no one teaches, and it is the one that determines whether the work becomes integration or stays as self-analysis. After you have noticed and named, you hold what you found without immediately trying to change it. This is specific. You do not make a plan to stop the reaction. You do not set a goal around the suppressed quality. You simply allow what you found to exist. For now, Jung called this process the transcendent function. The idea that holding the tension between the conscious and the unconscious long enough, without resolving it prematurely, allows something new to emerge from the space between them. Holding is sitting with the discomfort of knowing without yet acting on it. For most people, this is 30 seconds. That is enough. Sit with what you found. Breathe. Let it be real without immediately trying to fix it. Practice 4 is the one that makes the first 3 compound. Without it, every insight from shadow work expires within 72 hours. This is what makes it permanent. Practice 4. Returning. Shadow work is not a session. It is a relationship. You return to what you found, not obsessively, not daily, necessarily, but with the understanding that the first time you name something is almost never the full picture. The first layer of a shadow reveals a surface truth. Under that surface truth, there is usually a deeper one. And under that, often, something that surprises you entirely. The practice of returning means keeping a running record of your shadow moments across weeks. Not to dwell, to notice patterns. What triggers you repeatedly? What quality keeps appearing below the surface? That repetition is not random. It is the shadow trying to tell you something specific. Return to it until you hear what it is. Let me bring this together. Shadow work is the intentional practice of making the unconscious visible. Most people quit because they mistake discomfort for danger, turn the work into self-attack, or fear what integration will require of their lives. All 3 are failures of methodology, not character. The right methodology has 4 practices: noticing, the signal that the shadow has appeared; naming, what the emotion is protecting, not the emotion itself; holding, sitting with what you find before trying to change it; returning, coming back to patterns until you hear what they are saying. This is not a weekend workshop. This is not a journaling prompt you do once. This is how a person becomes genuinely less controlled by what they have not yet met in themselves. It takes time, it takes honesty, and it takes coming back. Here is what I want you to do before this week is over. 1 shadow moment. One time this week, when you notice a reaction that feels larger than the situation, write 3 lines in your phone. What happened? What you felt? What might be below it? That is it. Then come down to the comments and tell me one thing. Which of the 3 quit reasons did you recognize yourself in? Discomfort mistaken for danger. Self-attack disguised as self-awareness. Fear of what integration will cost. Drop your number, 1, 2, or 3. No explanation needed, just the number. Because your answer tells me more about where Frame Within needs to go next than any data ever could. Frame Within exists for one reason, to give you the real psychology, not the version that fits in a tweet, not the version that avoids the difficult parts, but the version that actually changes something. If this video reached something, subscribe. Every Wednesday, new frame. Next week, we go into the specific shadow pattern that shows up most consistently in people who are high-achieving and chronically unfulfilled. If that sentence landed anywhere in your chest, you already know the next video is for you. Shift the frame, change the life.